Hello and welcome to the Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons review for the Game Boy Color. So if you somehow don't already know about the Legend of Zelda series, you might want to quit smoking bleach and exit the desert you've been living in for the past 30 years. Now that you've done that and finally found a house that actually is working internet, Legend of Zelda games are action-adventure puzzle games that first started in 1986 on the Nintendo Entertainment System. The story of this game starts with Link riding his horse across a large field. He notices a castle far in the distance. He gets inside the castle. Triforce teleports the hero to the land of Holodrum. He discovers a group of travelers sitting around a campfire. Here he finds the Oracle of Seasons named Din, who gets captured by a dark knight. This knight imprisons her inside a magic crystal, which makes the seasons change randomly. But don't even try to figure out how the hell that works. This is where your journey begins. As I said earlier, this is an action-adventure puzzle game, much like the rest of the series. You can go around exploring the world, killing monsters, and finding your way through dungeons to defeat a boss, which gives you one of the 8 essences of nature needed to enter the castle and save Din. So one of the main mechanics for this game is that just about an hour in, you find the Rod of Seasons, which as you go through the game, will gain the power to change its seasons by jumping on top of a tree stump and swinging it, which cycles through the 4 different seasons. You might be wondering how this could be useful. So let's say you need to cross a large pond but can't swim yet, change the season to winter, and the lake freezes over so you can just walk over it. Or in summer, you'll see some ponds have dried up. You might find new areas under them, like caves. Also, there will be times during fall when leaves cover certain pits so you can just walk over them. These are one of the many changes that can happen during the different seasons. So here's a picture of an area in all 4 seasons so you can see the differences between them. So as you can see, some trees unexplainably get thinner in winter compared to the other seasons. Now I know the leaves fall off, but somehow the stump itself also shrinks. Hooray for logic. The second thing that makes this game unique from the others is its interaction with another very similar game, Oracle of Ages. So if you beat one of these 2 games, you get a password if you enter into the other game. Basically, you continue the story from the other game with added story elements. There will also be new people around the world that'll give you passwords. Then you go talk to another person in Ages to give them the password, and then you can play a mini-game to get a special item in that game. After that, you can chalk the Oracle of Secrets and have her transfer the item to Seasons so you can use it there as well. Link's game also has more story when the game normally ends, but I won't spoil it in case you somehow haven't played this 15-year-old game. The final thing unique to these 2 games is the ring system. As soon as you get into the first town, you can go talk to a jeweler in the village who will give you a ring box and hold a ring in it, of course. These rings will give you special powers like more damage but less defense, the other way around, or any other number of things. There are 64 different rings that exist in the game, most of which will come from seeds that you can plant in the ground or will grow trees. They'll give you items when you pick them, and others will just be found in chests or given to you by special people. Now, the graphics by today's standards obviously aren't that good. For an 8-bit game, they look amazing and colorful. Now, many of the sprites in this game were reused from Link's Awakening, which is another Zelda game on the Game Boy that came before this. It's probably one of the best looking games on the Game Boy Color, and probably one of the best 8-bit games in general. Every area looks the best they probably could for this type of game, and as you saw, the colors change based on the season, which is a nice touch. The music is just amazing, especially for an 8-bit game. Some of these songs are remixed themes from the original Zelda game on the NES, Ocarina of Time on the N64, and some are completely unique to this game. These songs are literally some of the best 8-bit songs from any game, next to classic Mega Man or Castlevania. There isn't really any other way to describe them, so just have a listen for yourself. Controls are simple and perfect, but then again this is a system with 4 buttons, so I hope you wouldn't find some way to screw it up. The Start button of course opens your menu, while the Select button scrolls through one of the 3 menu screens. Pressing the Start button alone will open up a map of the overworld, or the dungeon if you're in one. In the Start menu you can assign one of 2 of your many items to the A or B buttons. Pressing that button will then use that item, but anyone with a brain will be able to figure that out without even playing the game. Also, something I didn't know for the longest time is you can press start and select buttons at the same time to go right to the save screen instead of scrolling through the menu screens. And of course, if it wasn't completely obvious, you move with a directional pad. The dungeons are all very different from each other and should feel familiar to anyone who has played a Zelda game, with plenty of puzzles and enemies to kill, a new item, and a boss at the end. Some dungeons are ridiculously easy and can take about 20 minutes if you're not bad, while others are some of the most complicated things you might experience in your life, and it could probably take over an hour. The 8th dungeon in particular is pretty difficult to understand because of different puzzle elements you'll find later in there, but because of the risk of spoiling the game from 2001, I'll not be explaining why. In general, this game isn't really too hard, but then it starts scaling up later on. It could be too difficult for younger gamers, but anyone with any experience with the series shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Unlike other Game Boy games, Pokemon, this game doesn't really have any glitches, or at least none that are too particularly game-breaking. The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons is an amazing game, with great graphics for the time, amazingly fun gameplay, very little glitches, tons of replayability and variety, perfect controls, balanced difficulty, some of the best music on the system, and a pretty good story. The only thing I could find wrong with the game is I wish the story was a bit more fleshed out and had more character development. But overall, I would say this is one of the best games on the Game Boy Color, and a game you should definitely try out if you ever get the chance. This game is a 4.75 out of 5, with a title of Outstanding.